can you tell me the odds of doing well in the stock market?
Well,
it's a really complicated answer, isn't
it? No, you want to do well in the stock market, be a member of Congress.
If you're cold and you walk over to the heater and turn it on, there's a chance it is broken and it won't turn on and you'll stay cold.
Yeah. Well,
like that's a gamble.
Things that might potentially come back to haunt us in the past or in the future.
Made good decisions in the past. I've made good decisions in the future. Sensei is behind you with a sword and you have to duck the entirely silent attack that's coming randomly. Hey, talking about gambling.
You don't, okay, look, this is the important thing to note about investment. You don't lose or win until you sell.
Well, that's the end of the gamble. Yeah. Here's how I know there is no God. Because if there was this all-knowing God that knew the future, he would have long ago died of boredom watching this show that he knows how it's going to end.
But the thing is,
that creates a game.
You don't have to sell or buy when the stock market closes. You could just be like, I'll wait until tomorrow and see what happens. So
that's a gamble too. If you want to like draw lines between chance and gambling and all that stuff, like it really does start to blur after a while.
Only a select few get that payout, but with investment, many people, like whoever holds shares in a company, if they sell, when it's high, they reap that payout every single.
Those are odds, though. It's almost like the dopamine high you get walking into the casino going, I got a lucky feeling.
Good food.
Welcome to another kitchen sink beer croscopy, microscopy. I'm Casey Rochford, and just go hit that little, well, not the down thumb. Go hit the up thumb because you like this. That's it. And subscribe and all that. Yakety yak. Don't talk back.
Well, I don't mind if people give us a thumbs down if they don't like what we have to say. Although, hey, your opinion doesn't mean shit because nobody can see it now. So, hey, whatever. Go ahead. Thumbs down all day long. Nobody cares. So I'm Eric Rosenblatt. And Casey and I, we write our own music. And it's available out there on the interwebs, iTunes, Spotify, and stuff. You can go to our website, ksmvidcast.com, and you can get access to all that, see all the videos we've done, and get access to merch and special information and different thoughts and things. Pretty cool place. It's a work in progress, but so are we.
That's poetic almost.
Huh. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, I can tell already this is going to be a deep philosophical conversation, and it's one I think we need to revisit because I think we missed a whole lot of stuff, and it was a really interesting discussion. One of our heated arguments, really, like in how much we disagreed. But you'll notice that neither one of us ever called the other an idiot or wrote in all caps.
It never, like, we generally don't resort to ad hominem unless we're joking.
Yeah. But that topic was I posited the theory of mine that and others share this theory too. I guess it's not my postulate, but like gambling and the stock market are really no different. Fundamentally.
Yeah.
I'm just, let's just say investment is gambling, or like however you want to phrase the argument. That's kind of the gist. And we kind of focused a whole lot on casino games for some reason. Like, I feel like we got like pigeonholed into that, and we didn't even talk about like the human elements of sports gambling and races and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, like horse racing, and yeah, like
there's skill involved in some of that, like
and knowledge that
yeah.
like you kind of sort of know what's going on. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't necessarily equate investment to like slot machines or something, which is
No.
Well, they say it's random, but there's an algorithm there, so it's not really random. It always favors the house. Yeah,
but that's not really gambling, is it?
I guess it depends on what you consider to be gambling. Sort of.
Well, if you're playing the odds, an algorithm alters the odds.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like your whole playing ground has changed.
Well, that's true, but as far as what the state considers to be gambling, slot machines, sports betting, they're no different. But hey, buy a lotto ticket, by the way. You could win big. It's totally shitty if you're, doing it independently and stuff. But well, if it's officially sanctioned, then it's totally okay. It's not harmful at all. Yeah, I mean, I guess you're right in that regard that investment. Well, okay, I have a few thoughts on this that
we'll
get
my
into.
actual thinking was in the last episode we talked about this, and you had mentioned over and over again that because the stock market is driven by like human interaction, that kind of set it apart from gambling. But like, football games, like teams know they've got all these like odds riding on them, and they like work towards being better or worse, and you can kind of predict some of that. Like, you're kind of getting into like, the kind of prognostication that you see in the stock market too. It's like, oh, this is a sure thing, and that's the one kind of betting, or gambling in sports that you can kind of, I don't know, use psychology. I don't know.
Well, yeah, and like knowing the different teams and the players, their capabilities, and one team pitted against another team, and like in American football, you would maybe like be like, okay, well, this particular team, they're playing against that team, and they're in this particular city. It's going to be this kind of weather, and I know their quarterbacks and their wide receivers and all their stats and stuff, and you can kind of like weigh it. And yeah, I mean, in a way, it's very similar to the stock market in that you can see sort of the trends that are happening, and kind of anticipate what's going to happen. Of course, you never know. Anything can happen. Like, well, there could be a pandemic, or I don't know, a war or something that happens that you didn't expect, and that could turn the tides. And or it could be something much more simple, like some kind of shortage of a particular material, or a new discovery that changes things, and the company that you thought was a surefire win is all of a sudden going bankrupt, and there's no way to predict that. And in a sense, I guess that is kind of equivalent. That there's parallels there.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
See, I think the problem we had before was we were focusing too much on the mechanism of how you gamble.
mm-hmm.
Like a gamble is really just taking a chance at something when you break it down, right?
True.
Like,
Yeah.
I don't see how you couldn't argue similarity between taking a chance with your money and what is really just kind of a variable term investment sort of gambling. You know, it's like, it's not just like a slot machine where you go and play and walk away. It's something that you can like put in for a real long term. And
well, actually, that's a really good point in that with traditional gambling, say slot machines or blackjack or something, you don't dictate when you go in and go out. Essentially, it's like at some point you're going to have to withdraw from that. And but with the stock market or the crypto market or something, you can hold on to that as long as you want. So you could just ride the storm. But of course, you know, the casino closes, and well, you got to turn in your chips at the end of the day. So there is a difference in that regard. Or like, you know, a sports ball game happens and okay, well, that's it. So it's done. Well, the stock market is kind of like a continually moving river. And so you can decide when you want to get in, when you want to get out. And I guess there's a little bit of difference there. And a huge difference in my mind between gambling in the traditional sense and the stock market or the crypto market is that, like, your bets in a gambling sense, like let's say, well, even if it's something state sanctioned, like lottery or something like that, your bets don't necessarily affect the ultimate outcome. But with
lottery,
investment,
it totally does.
well,
The more people that play, the larger the bank roll goes, right?
but it doesn't change anything. It's still a random draw at the end of the day. It doesn't, the amount of people who are participating doesn't affect the ultimate outcome, like the outcome from the process.
Yeah.
But with investment, it does. Like the amount of money that people put into something does affect that process. That does kind of change things. It gives companies financial resources to do the things they want to do. It's sort of like crowdfunding in a sense. Crowdfunding is sort of the new evolution of old school investment. And so, you know, the more players in an investment sense do actually, like the more people that are participating, it does affect the outcome. It does affect the process. It affects everybody. Like if more people are investing in something and you invested at a certain point, your worth, I guess, the worth of your shares grows. But if you're, say, playing the lotto, the more people investing, well, your ticket is a random set of numbers. Like it's randomly drawn, presumably. You've potentially chosen them randomly. So they're really, the odds of you, quote, winning don't change based on the number of people who are participating. But in the stock market, it does. Like you can actually reap rewards.
These are all like effectors on the actual phenomenon. Like these we're still like not looking far enough into the microscope. We need to get to the molecular level
All right.
of playing odds, taking chance. It's very binary, right? Like it's an up or a down.
Well,
And
I don't know that
well, hang
there
on.
are differences.
You throw all this human interaction into the mix to try to say that's how it differs from gambling, is that humans are having an effect on it. And it's like, but what you break it down to, like every little interaction that goes into that human and what they're going to do, it's all 50-50 chances that like conglomerate into this huge mass of odds and things like that. Like you look at it from that stance on a molecular level, like there's always some kind of human influence.
Well, yeah, I'll give you that's true. I guess there's a difference between games where the odds are chosen by an external system and games where the odds are chosen by an internal system. And I see the stock market as the latter, and like the lottery as the former. That like the number of people buying lottery tickets doesn't change the balls that are lifted by air and picked. Like,
well,
it does change the payout. Yes, it does. However, only a select few get that payout. But with investment, many people, like whoever holds shares in a company, if they sell, when it's high, they reap that payout every single
those
person.
are odds though. So like just because those odds are ever changing doesn't mean, like they don't have to be fixed odds. Like, oh, your chances of winning the lottery are 1 in 270 million or whatever. It's like that fluctuates. Like, I'll give you that. Like the sheer idea of like what you're gambling on is something that humans require. It's business and things like that,
Yeah.
It's just a different thing. But I don't know, I started to go off on a tangent and I lost what I was thinking.
Oh shit. Well, go you hold that thought, or come back to it or something. I do agree. My point is that they're kind of different things. There's a lot of risk. Yes, there's quite a lot of risk in either one.
Oh, that's kind of where I was driving, I think.
Yeah, and the difference is the risk, or I guess you can kind of analyze the landscape with investment and sort of figure out like what you want to do. Like it's dependent on a number of factors, all kinds of factors, be it geopolitical factors or material factors or human interaction and things like that. All kinds of stuff dictates the stock market. But gambling, say something like the lottery or whatever, it isn't dictated by any of those factors. It's dictated by random chance. And the difference with that too is like if you have something like a lottery ticket or whatever, like only a few select people win, and that is of course by design because, well, they always want the house to win. Stock market, on the other hand, it just depends on what happens out there. It depends on what the company does. Just sheer dumb luck sometimes, or bad luck that changes the dynamic. And everybody feels that, whether it be something positive or something negative. So your shares go up or they go down. Up or down. Yeah, kind of did that backwards. but but it,
That's an outward effect of the gamble on society.
yeah, I mean, I guess it is. I'm not. Okay. I'm not.
Well, I
trying
just
to
want to
say,
ask you a question before I completely forget this thought. Can you tell me the odds of doing well in the stock market?
Well,
It's a really complicated answer, isn't
no. You want to do well in the stock market? Be a member of Congress.
it? But you can't point to, like a situation where you can say with any certainty, like, how likely it is for someone to succeed in investment and stuff. But
well, okay, no, you're right.
If you're so smart that you can like predict and like do well in the stock market, like why can't you like predict what like an average of people are going to have some kind of bell curve effect on, and extrapolate things and
well, it's sort of like what futurism is about, kind of following trends and things.
mm-hmm.
Like I'm not dismissing your idea that the stock market is gambling. Like I think it is kind of similar. It's different, but it's similar. Like there are a lot of parallels there.
Yeah, like I want to take like peel off what we think of when we hear the word gambling,
mm-hmm.
and just have it be like taking chance, right? With like pay out or pay in.
Yeah, you put in something. You put something into the kitty, right? And then a bunch of other people do, and everybody's like, placing their bets essentially on what's going to happen. And then like whatever happens, then you win or lose.
If you're cold and you walk over to the heater and turn it on, there's a chance it is broken and it won't turn on, and you'll stay cold.
Yeah. Well,
like that's a gamble.
Well,
but
it's true.
The payout is warmth, like anything you want to look at on that molecular level and say that's gambling, like everything really, actually. Yeah. Well, screw the stock market gambling stuff. Like everything's a gamble, isn't it?
Yeah, life in general, like life is risk.
Oh, I knew this would get philosophical.
But I guess the one difference is that the stock market is continuous theoretically, and traditional gambling, life. Well, yeah, true. But gambling as it's traditionally known has like a beginning and an end. You're placing bets on a thing, an event, right? The game that somebody's playing, or the pulling the lever on the machine, or this roulette table or something.
Well, they all have an end. It's just, one's way longer. Like I'll admit that's the one big difference, is that you can, just put in your chips and never pull them out until the day you die if you want.
Yeah. Hold. For fuck's sake, hold. But that's kind of a significant difference, is like, okay, look, this is the important thing to note about investment. You don't lose or win until you sell.
Well, that's the end of the gamble. Yeah.
Yeah, but you choose when you want to do that. Like if you had bought GameStop stock, back in the early days when it was all riding high and stuff, and it dipped down to where it was before the whole what was it, Reddit, I think, that did that whole GameStop thing. But if you had sold when it was low, you would have lost money. But if you held on to it until that rally happened, well, you would have gained. But you decide. But gambling, you don't necessarily decide. Like lotto, you yourself don't pick the balls out of the air or anything. You're not choosing the numbers.
Well, stock market closes. It closes at 4 o'clock or whatever it is. And after that, life continues to go on. Those companies still operate. Stocks drop overnight, go up overnight. You can't do a damn thing until everybody else is already doing the exact same thing and playing with the price. And
well, that is a little bit
gamble.
annoying. Like it is a global world. Like time is not really a thing. So I don't know why the stock market opens and closes. But the thing is,
that creates a gamble.
You don't have to sell or buy when the stock market closes. You could just be like, I'll wait until tomorrow and see what happens. So
that's a gamble too.
Well, yes, it is.
Because if you cashed out now, you might get $30,000, and if you wait to see what happens tomorrow, it could be $3,000.
Yeah.
But you wanted to, you had to take the money out anyway to like pay for your car repair or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And you're basically trying to like do this astrological crap to figure out if it's going to go up or it's going to go down, and you make your choices.
Oh, okay. Well, the astrological crap, I want to say to everybody out there, don't listen to the experts. They don't know shit. They don't know anything. Like you're better off listening to yourself, just kind of just going with your gut rather than listening to the experts. Because the thing is, a lot of those experts have skin in the game. They're trying to drive things in a particular direction to get the masses to do something. And I mean, I get it, but yeah, I just buy low, sell high. It's that fucking simple. And that is a difference.
How do you know what high is? You only have one data point reference.
Well,
you're in the middle between the future and the past, and you have that data point.
Well, it's very simple. It's what you bought it for versus what you want to sell it for and how much you want to make. So if you want to make $1 per share or something or whatever, that's your mark. Like it is, you're right. There is a gambling aspect. There's a huge risk aspect, because it's like, at what point, how long do you want to hold on to this? While things are kind of riding high and the fever is building before you want to sell. But there's a difference between that and like traditional gambling.
You're forgetting about like, first off, when the gamble ends doesn't really matter to me. Like the stakes are the same, but like when you I'm losing thoughts all over the place tonight. Fuck. 3 hours of sleep will do that.
Yeah. Shit.
So okay, when you got stakes and I don't know. Damn it.
Now, great. Now it's contagious. Like I'm losing my thought too. Well, I guess it, like, I think there is a difference, especially due to the like the fact that it's your decision when you want to buy and when you want to sell.
That's it. That was it. You're forgetting like being forced, like I alluded to earlier. You need this for car repairs or whatever. That's a forced end of the gamble, which is also kind of random. You don't really get to pick because you need this money.
Well, that's an assumption that people, but that, okay.
Because that's a place I've been in, and it's like any idiot can figure out buy low, sell high. That's how you make profit. Yeah. But in order to do that, you have to be able to know when it's high enough or at the highest or whatever.
But here's the thing, your own situation, your own socioeconomic situation doesn't change the reality of the circumstance. Like, there are people who don't have that. So how about them? Like, there are people who are like, oh yeah, I'm fine. I'm just gonna do this thing and buy and sell stocks all day. Like, I don't have like, oh, car repair comes up, I'll just pay for it. So I mean, just because your own personal situation dictates, like forces your hand essentially in that regard, doesn't mean that those things are different. um
You mean like, are you trying to say there's like a difference between like fate and like socioeconomic, like sociology?
no,
Like,
no. I purely just like, is it gambling or not?
like if you could just afford whatever you want, that's fine and dandy, but you don't know what's going to come along and like wipe out your ability to do that.
But
Like
those
it
things
doesn't
don't.
matter what your socioeconomic status is. Your need to enter or exit this particular gamble at any given time is entirely up to fate.
But it isn't driven by universal forces. That's the thing. It's driven. What you're talking about is a drive that is personal. It's a thing that is something unique to you and not applicable to everybody else. If it's applicable to everybody, then sure, I'd give you that. But
You're saying
everybody's different.
nobody could just randomly go broke.
No, I'm not saying that at all.
Well,
I'm just talking about the whole like being forced to sell because you have to pay the bills. That is not a fault of any system. That is a fault of your own self. Or
you're
like,
overthinking it. Like, that's not an interaction in the gamble. It just creates the gamble.
Well, no,
You don't. It
no,
doesn't
no,
need
no,
to
no,
be
no,
a
no.
financial strain. It
No,
doesn't need to be any particular thing. It's just something that drives your hand.
Okay, yeah, I'll give you that, but I don't think that shouldn't affect the analysis of a thing. And I feel like there's sort of this, I don't know.
If
Can
you're
I just say
analyzing,
I love this conversation, by the way? Like, I love it when, like, there's a lot of people who would be all bent out of shape if you have like a heated debate, but I fucking love heated debates. Like, man,
if you're analyzing a game of chance, your point of reference has to be types of chance.
Okay, but you're saying, so kind of the gist of what I'm getting from what you're saying is like, okay, hey, me and a few friends got together to play a game of life together, which I actually played recently, and oh my god, that game is fucking crazy. I didn't realize that. But okay, so you get together with some friends to play a game of life. Old school game, you have babies and you go to college, and stupid game, but it's kind of fun. Okay, so what you're saying is if you have an external thing like, hey, I gotta go now because it's getting late, and I gotta forfeit my game because I gotta get to work tomorrow in the morning, that somehow that has some affectation on the game of life, like it's game of life's fault.
Earlier you said, the casino doors close and you have to stop gambling at that point. Well, it's like, this is just life closing the doors, and you have to, draw upon the funds which you have, whether they're high or low. And that's the gamble. That either high or low at a given point in time is the gamble. How you get to that point in time doesn't matter. The how doesn't matter up until the point of chance.
Well, I don't know that. See, if it were
it's almost
something
like the
that
butterfly effect is what I'm arguing, really.
Well, I get that, but the thing is, like, if it applied to everybody, if the door is closed for everybody at a certain time and everybody had to sell at sunset or something in their time, then sure, I'd give you that. But this is like an individual thing, and it's based on your own circumstances. And What about people who have impulses that, well, they panic and they're like, oh, fuck, it's dropping, I better sell. Like, is that a factor too that diminishes or makes investment more like gambling? It's all personal choice. It's all personal circumstance. Like, and those things are different for everybody. Like, I don't know that you can say like, well, because one person has this particular circumstance or a select group of people have that means that this thing is a certain way.
I guess I just see it like if I can't tell you with certainty how much you're going to make off of this, I don't care if those odds fluctuate or are static. I still see that as a win-loss scenario that I don't know the outcome of.
Okay, no, that's a good point. However, I don't know that that's really any different than being employed and getting a certain paycheck, because inflation is a thing. Global events are a thing.
Getting fired is a thing.
Getting fired, like you never know what's going to happen, or incidental expenses that you didn't expect. Like, oh, my car broke down. Oh shit, it's a fucking transmission. That's $2,500. You know, you didn't expect that. It's not the fault of your employer that happened. It's just like, well, life kind of fucking sucks. You know, it throws shit at you. And
I guess the only real difference there is you're locked in at a pay in pay out ratio.
Mm-hmm.
You put in 40 hours, you get the same paycheck every week.
Yeah,
it's not really a monetary stakes. Like if you want to do apples to apples where the payout is monetary.
Yeah,
it's I don't know.
No,
but I mean, like I
think that's
absolutely
fair.
agree that the actual scenarios are total gambles. You know, like
yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. Well, and man, I mean, we could talk about different countries and their monetary systems and employment systems. It's like it's all over the map. I think that it just comes down to like life is a gamble.
Yeah,
I mean, it really is. But the nice thing is there are other players in the game of life who have your back, or
yeah,
you'll meet people who will help you out. And same goes with investment and things like that. Gambling, though, it's so random. I don't know.
I mean, the outward effects, like what happens after the gamble and how that's spread around. I think that's just kind of a universal. So like you don't know that these big casino winners aren't going out and like feeding the homeless, or you know, like using their money to do a whole lot of good that you don't see on a metric, right?
Yeah.
Like if that's, you know, if you want to like draw lines between chance and gambling and all that stuff, like it really does start to blur after a while. Like,
oh yeah,
you know, you can see everything as a gamble, and that's not really a dirty word, is it? You know,
no,
if
I
investment's
so.
gambling, you know, like so be it. Some people do really well and some don't. Some people walk into the casino and walk out very rich, and some don't. You know,
good. Some people walk into the casino very rich and walk out poor. Like that happens too.
Yeah.
So yeah, like, man, holy shit. That's oh man, there's like a whole existential thing right here that I'm thinking about.
Yeah.
Man.
Like this is beautiful because we were arguing how two things were very different, and we came to see how they're very much alike, and alike with much more than we were even thinking about.
So much more broad. Yeah. Oh man.
That's super like metaphysical orgasm material right there.
Well, those that watch us know that, that's kind of what we do here on KSM. Oh man. Yeah, this is
Go buy our t-shirts.
Oh yeah.
Random live commercial.
Slava Ukraini. Just had
That's an awesome shirt.
Yeah, it is. Oh man. Well, and actually the whole Ukraine thing kind of fits into that. Like, we focus on money as if it really matters, but it's like, well, isn't security, safety, and comfort more important? Isn't that what people care about?
Look at it as good thing, bad thing. It's subjective, but it's general.
Yeah, the important thing being subjective, because some people like stuff that other people don't like. That's normal. Yeah. But the idea that things are going to be a certain way in perpetuity is kind of a myth. In fact, the universe, well, throughout the history of the universe, it kind of shows us like, well, shit's kind of unpredictable. Like, you don't know what's going to happen from day to day. You go like 1 minute, Russia is, the Russian Federation, they're pretty chill, cool guys. And then all of a sudden, well, nuclear war. Holy shit, take shelter, like, and that can happen. Like, so yeah, life itself is a gamble. And well, I didn't ask to be born on Earth, so it's like, fucking A, man.
Yeah, we're all quite a stupendous chance, actually, when you think about all the sperm that don't make it.
Well, and when you think about evolution and like the origin of life on Earth, it's so impossible. Like, well, and there's going to be a bunch of religious people who are going to be like, well, it's so impossible, God must be the reason. Like, and okay, sure, fine, I'll give you that. I guess that's a possible explanation. But what if God is not the explanation? Wouldn't that make life so much more remarkable? And shouldn't we then care about it so much more? Like, in fact, honestly, if it's God, it almost feels like, well, it's disposable. Oh yeah, God made us. Yeah,
God isn't even a gamble.
Oh yeah,
it's either he exists or he doesn't. It's like a yes or no question or a light switch or something. It's like the whole universe, the way we conceive of it, could be one way or another way, and nobody really knows until it's far too late.
Well, and that whole binary thing sort of bugs me. Like, so many people debate about whether God exists or not, and very few people sit and ponder, what is God? Like, really ask yourself that question. What is God?
But it is a gamble, isn't it? Because like, if I asked you right now, like, what do you think the odds are that there's a God? Like, chances are you would, say like, oh, for me, like, 1 in 100 billion or something. and then someone next to you will have a completely different ratio, maybe going the other direction. But like, that's how much, kind of going extra metaphysical with this, but like their payout is almost in how good it makes them feel to believe that, and expect that to be the outcome. It's almost like the dopamine high you get walking into the casino going, I got a lucky feeling, I'm gonna win today. Get all jazzed up.
Yeah. Oh man.
Like I just tied religion to gambling.
Shit, man. Well, hey, I was gonna bring up Pascal's wager.
Yep. Wager.
Yeah.
Keyword. Yep.
Uh-huh.
Oh, life's a gamble, dude.
Well, it is. And maybe okay, maybe that's something that makes life exciting. Like if it were a sure thing, if you knew, if you're playing on God mode all the time, like, well, how fun is that game? But if you know, well, you got shot once, you die in this game.
Oh, you know what?
That's a really.
Here's how I know there is no God. Because if there was this all-knowing God that knew the future, he would have long ago died of boredom watching this show that he knows how it's going to end. He's fallen asleep on the couch and forgotten to eat or shit, and he's died. And he's died of sepsis and, like being on 600-pound loser or whatever the show is, like, yeah, God's dead.
Fuck Nietzsche. KSM killed God. Oh man. Oh, I think there's in all things there's an element of truth. Okay, yeah, we're getting divergent now, but I think it's relevant.
Yeah.
There's an element of truth in everything. The origin story and sources of religion, most religions. And well, we've talked about the man machine and things. What if there was sort of a spacefaring species that came here and they were like, oh, hey, this is a hospitable place for our experiment. And they conducted the experiment, which was seeding planet Earth with stuff to make life, and then watched it happen. And it did. And they're like, okay, well, they're good. Okay. And they just buggered off.
Alien ecto semen.
Yeah, exactly. Now, I would hope they'd come back and be like, hey, this whole nuke thing, that's kind of a dumb idea.
They might be.
I'm certain of that, actually, and I'm kind of waiting for this whole Ukraine-Russia thing to play out, because I feel like
there was a sighting in the Middle East, like a day after this, or maybe 2 days after this happened. Like this big black triangular thing, like way up there, was just.
Oh wait, no, not the triangular things.
Yep.
Oh fuck.
Yep.
Oh shit. Oh man,
you didn't see that?
No, I didn't.
Oh yeah, dude,
missing out.
It was pretty recent.
I've just been watching live streams of stuff in Ukraine, so might have missed out on the greater global experience at that point. Man,
yeah, it's
This is a really good conversation. Like,
yeah.
Oh man, dude, here's the thing. It's like oh man. Okay. I don't want to get teary-eyed because I might. But I love our conversations.
Oh yeah.
We address stuff that like nobody talks about. Nobody. At least not in the deep sink diving way that we do.
Yeah. Yeah, we definitely like, it's almost like we're pulling at the threads of what humanity is and spending an hour or two discussing it in great detail.
Yeah.
And seeing how things are interwoven. Like, we're always like, the more we digress, the better the episode.
Yes, exactly. Oh.
Because like, when I go to upload these videos and we've talked about like 6 million things, but they're all cool, it's really hard to like pack it into like a tight little marketing packet that fully captures any one given episode. You know, even with this new feature I started, the in case you missed it, where there's like 10 to 15 minutes toward the end of an episode or the middle of an episode where, you know, statistically most people have, this is a gamble, have dropped off, and all the awesomeness that we poured into this channel is being missed. But even with those, there's still misses, you know?
Yeah. Well, and I think if we look to the world the same way, then we wouldn't have such epic conversations.
Nope.
The thing that makes this great is how different our worldviews are. I mean, there's a lot of similarities, for sure, but there's enough difference where it's like, you know, maybe we can have like our own camps or something, and discuss things in a way that gets people engaged. Like, engagement is the thing. That's what it's all about.
Yeah.
Like, oh man.
You know, it's I was about to say, like, our desire to reverberate the message and the, let's say, level of, as a metric, a level of virality to our videos are like inversely proportionate. And that's almost a gamble, because like our good feeling of like having more conversation is nowhere near its potential.
Well, that's true. And I think people like conflict. Humans like conflict.
But it doesn't have to be mean.
No, it doesn't. You can have this is the important thing to understand. It's like, you can have a heated debate with somebody you totally disagree with. But yeah, you don't have to call them names or anything like that. Just focus on the subject, the thing you're talking about.
You know what? I'm going to quote a guest of the show's dad, and I've never met either of these two people, but Uncle Tip's dad, I saw this on Facebook. He told Tip, always mean what you say and say what you mean, but you don't have to be mean when you say it. Like, that's awesome.
Oh, that's good.
So I'm quoting somebody else's dad who we met on this show. Well, somebody who we met on the show's dad. Damn English language changing.
Well, if you spoke Russian, then
oh shit.
Yeah.
Do I need to start learning?
Well, maybe. We'll see. We'll see how things play out.
Do I need to go get my hat? It's probably in poor taste now.
Well, it's the old Soviet thing, so probably doesn't count now. You got to be, you know, new school.
New school.
New school.
We should make like a mock hat that's just like Putin's bald head with And
Oh man.
that's like the token era accoutrement that we associate with that country.
Well, it should probably be like Putin getting knocked out by Zelenskyy.
Yep.
Given what's going on right now, yeah. Oh man.
People should go get our shirt, by the way.
Oh yeah. Yeah, there's a Zelenskyy shirt.
And while you're there, get your mug with our mugs on it.
Yes. And if enough people buy the shirts, hey, maybe I don't know, we'll put some of the proceeds towards, well, most of them. Fuck it. No, I don't know about you, Casey, but I would say like put all the proceeds towards like
helping Ukraine.
Ammunition for Ukraine.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing.
Yeah. Like,
because like that's I guess we're almost morphing into a whole other episode, but like that's just such a valiant effort on everyone's part. Like that's what true leadership is to me. Like, getting down in the trenches with your constituents, remembering that you're one of them and you have that fight or flight response. He was like, fuck you, America. I don't need a riot. I need guns, like
exactly.
It's like, I'm not running. I'm fighting with my people. Like,
and that's
a leader.
That exactly. And that's something that like everybody across the world saw. And they're like, well, fuck Putin. Zelenskyy, like I'm going to Ukraine. Like,
actually, we should mention, just in case any of our viewers are interested in joining the Ukrainian Justice League. What was it called?
the Foreign Legion.
Foreign Legion, yes. Same thing. Justice League.
The Foreign Legion.
The Avengers. Whatever.
Ukrainian Foreign Legion. Yeah.
That's a thing. You can sign up and help.
Yeah. Oh man, this should probably be something that's pushed out earlier rather than later.
Well, throw it in the clips at the front.
Yeah, exactly. Oh man.
Yeah, that's I don't know, like awesome guy, like true leader.
Oh yeah, like dude is like giving press conferences in a fucking t-shirt. Love that man. Like, what a guy.
What a guy.
Shit, yeah. Oh, well, like Putin sitting up there wearing suits and got my KGB get up and stuff. That's like, dude, you ain't shit. Like, you had all the stuff and you lost it. Like, you're a dunce now, man.
You're all like, Mr. Zelenskyy, if you're interested, I'll be in my quarters during lunch covered in trauma-slaughter.
Oh, man. Holy shit.
Had to throw a red dwarf.
Of course.
They're a deep one.
It was
a well interwoven deep one, if I don't say so myself, which sounds kind of dirty.
Oh, deep, huh?
Well interwoven.
Oh man,
figure that one out.
This time is kind of important. Like my personal takeaway from all this is war now doesn't make any sense anymore. Like
did it ever?
Well, it didn't. It never did, but it made sense to a certain type of people in a certain type of time. But nowadays, really, does it? when somebody who's an asshole who's like, well, we're going to invade this country because, you know, we want to claim it for Mother Russia. And the Russians are protesting and don't want it. And then the whole world, everybody is like, hey, where do I sign up to fight for Ukraine? You know, like, I just worry that maybe I worry that things will go nuclear. I hope not. I really, really hope not. Like, we should not have nukes. That was a mistake. Shouldn't have figured that out. Fuck you, Einstein. Like, Jesus.
Can we get a mulligan? Yeah, like that really, you know, anything that could be like more devastating to Earth than the Thanos snap is just a little bit too far of an advancement for a species of such I'll givingly say adolescent sociological evolution level kind of species, you know, like
adolescent is a good way to put it.
Yeah, like to have that kind of power with this kind of attitude toward responsibility, like our species still thrives on this idea of rights and, more importantly, not having anyone take these rights from me, than like a species feeling. You know, it's all about me and my rights rather than us.
Well, no, I okay, to an extent I agree. I have a problem with there being something so devastating in the hands of so few.
Yeah.
The Tsar bomb. Okay, look. I would encourage people to watch the video of the Tsar bomb detonation. This was in the 50s. This was the Soviet Union. Half yield. And it was the biggest fucking nuke that was ever nuked on Earth. Like, imagine if that's what people start flinging at each other for just minor political differences or whatever, or because they're crazy. Like, that is really dangerous. We should not stand for that. We should not allow that. That should not be a thing.
Let me ask you something.
Mm-hmm.
Who would you trust? Like, this is a serious question. Who would you specifically, if you were tasked with this, who would you trust with protecting a nuclear bomb?
Oh, shit. Well, somebody not of Earth. I'll say that. Because I don't
so
think
even the presence of nukes is almost a gamble.
Yeah.
Like, you know, our choices of who we would trust to protect that with are entirely subjective. And, you know, like somebody near the top probably does actually trust this system as we have it to be anything more than a thin sheet of paper between absolute destruction and devastation.
Oh, yeah.
Like, we are, I mean, when you get right down to it, we're always just a choice away from someone pushing that button.
Yeah. Now, it's not entirely a button per se.
Don't be pedantic.
Well, I mean, you know, the point is, it's not as simple as like, well, one person makes a decision and, well, that's what we're going with. Well, all out nuclear war. Like, it doesn't quite play out that way, and it's a good thing.
There is a decision made, though.
Yeah.
Like earlier, I was trying to argue it doesn't matter like who or how many are making the decision. The decision is either this or that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like, and yeah, like that's how you get wars, I guess.
Ugh, shit.
And absolutely ugh, like demigod level weaponry.
Ugh.
Jesus.
Well, and I so I, those who know me know that I have mixed feelings about nukes. I kind of feel like it was sort of a eye opener, sort of like an awakening that people had. Like, oh, huh. Well,
Same reaction gives us very clean energy.
well, yes, as long as we are not building nukes, because thorium salt reactors, we should be doing that, not the other ones. Um, but again, it's a great technology. Like we figured out some stuff, and fuck, we could fix global warming overnight. All the climate change stuff that everybody's panicking about could be solved hands down, super easy. Like it's super fucking simple. But we weaponize it and direct it against our political foes, which aren't even you and I's political foes. It's
Yep.
politicians' political foes. Look, the fact is, politicians wage war, not the average person. It's politicians. They're the ones waging war. They're the ones calling children to fight each other. I mean, shit. I've seen the videos of people who've been captured in Ukraine, like Russian soldiers, and they're fucking children, and it breaks my heart. It's like, man,
jeez,
what, like 19-year-old kids and stuff like that. They didn't even know what they were getting into. And there they are, shooting people and getting shot at. And for what? What is to be gained? Nothing. Oh,
yeah, that's the bullshit. Like, I mean, for all the shit they get, the hippie peaceniks of the 60s, like, really had a legitimate gripe against war. Like, that was like a real social awakening that I feel like we've almost tried to mute.
Yeah.
This idea that peace is a good idea has kind of been like, I don't know, like looked down upon as like this dirty, drug infested culture.
Yeah.
Like,
well, I mean, okay, it was a dirty, drug infested culture. Not gonna lie.
But that didn't have anything to do with
the
peace. It was more like that was just an insurgence of discovering new drugs that did more fucked up things to people and people experimenting with them to feel good.
But the thing is, like, acts of aggression are, I'd say, like 99% bullshit. There's no reason. I mean, I'm a fucking hippie peacenik. Like, I'm an anti-war person. I hate fucking war. Defensive, yes. And there's a part of me that wants to sign up to defend Ukraine. Like, oh yeah, I'll take up a machine gun and shoot with side by side, back to back with the Ukrainians against the Russians. Like, why not? Even though the Russians don't even know why the fuck they're fighting. That's the whole problem. Like,
but in the end, you have to like decide, do they live or do I live? And you have to reciprocate. Unfortunately.
Yeah,
and that's how it happens. Like a little spark of aggression turns into this bullshit. Like
it does. but it doesn't have to.
No, I mean, it's all about people at the top having these sparks of aggression and then using their like brainwashed idea of like some kind of power over them to say, hey, you need to go fight these guys because XYZ.
Yeah, because
like, hoorah, let's go.
Yeah, nationalism, like, oh, defend the country, or oh, I don't know, imperialism or something. I don't know. Whatever.
Tribalism at the core, really.
Yeah, well, it is. And
our people are better than your people.
And the thing is, like, war is stupid now. Like, it's outdated, outmoded. It's gone. The Russian people are like, yeah, fuck this. What is happening?
Yeah.
You know, like, they don't want to fight. So why is there somebody, quote unquote, at the top telling people to fight over something that they decide? And why is everybody following that? That's the whole thing. It's like, it's all voluntary. Like,
you know, I think most citizens of most countries on either side of any war are like, why the fuck are we having this war?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
If you don't have a stake in the game, like, why would you care?
Exactly. Like, to the average Russian, what does Ukraine matter? Like, who cares about Ukraine? And there's a lot of Russians that live in Ukraine. So it's like, well, what are you gaining there?
Yeah.
Like,
I always thought, I mean, one of my good friends is half Russian, half Ukrainian. He's got family in both countries. I feel sorry for him right now because I know he's got family over there.
Well, hopefully they left before the real shit hits the fan.
Elderly though, so probably not. You know?
Maybe there's like 500,000 people at the border going into Poland and other such places.
Yeah,
so,
but I mean, my point is, they were kind of like buddies. I thought, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, I worked with, like I said, half Russian, half Ukrainian friend, and then a full Ukrainian friend that just spoke to each other in their own languages and understood each other perfectly. Like, that's how buddy is.
Yeah.
You know, like, yeah. And now we're seeing them at war. Like, it's crazy.
But the thing is, like, they're not really at war. If you think about it, and this is like,
what's your definition of war then?
Well, no, the important point is, like, it isn't a conflict between Ukrainians and Russians. It's a conflict between the Russian Federation president and the oligarchs and the government of Ukraine and the borders of Ukraine. Like, they want something. And they don't have any power. This is the most important thing to think about. Putin, he has no power. He's limp-dicked. He doesn't have shit. Like, he can't make things happen. All he can do is simply be the person at the top that everybody looks to and people defer to and act upon his whims.
Didn't you say he had KGB ties? I'm pretty sure he can.
Yeah, he has KGB ties, but that doesn't mean shit now, especially now. But the thing is, like, he doesn't actually, like, he isn't personally dictating every individual person. Just like Hitler. Hitler did not go door to door and tell people what to do. It was a sort of a mass hypnosis kind of thing.
Yeah.
And
it's playing on psychology. It's like, I don't want to be outside the crowd. And so you just be this loud and blatant. And I mean, this is what Trump did, really. Like, I mean, Trump used to read Mein Kampf. So he's kind of got it down pat, right? Like, this is what you do to get the masses to work for you, is just hit that psychology.
Well, like, and that's the thing. It's like, and at that point, like, do any of them have any actual power or control? No, they don't have shit.
patriotism is actually kind of like a bad thing. People see it as a virtue, but it's kind of never really leads to anything super good.
Yeah, and I used to be somebody who was like, well, globalism is a bad thing, but you know, seeing the stuff that's happening in Ukraine, this is a different, it's a small g globalism. You know, it's like a
crowdsourcing. I mean, we're all humans.
Yeah,
so,
yep.
Like,
That's the whole point. Like, we're all humans, and humans are like, hey, this fucked up thing is happening over here. Well, I'm in. Okay, sign me up. You know, I'll help fix it. Like, that's what people do. Tragedies happen and people rally and they help each other. They help their neighbors. That's a good thing. But the reason they're doing this is because of government. It's because of the state. It's because of these people who are proclaiming themselves to be essentially kings, rulers of a nation or something, and everybody's all nationalistic and waving flags and like, oh yeah, I'm this or I'm that. And I was like, you know what? When the meteorite hits, what value is that flag gonna have, really, man?
You know what? I'm having a thought. I almost want to persuade my Bujinkan brothers, the Ninjutsu clan that I've befriended over the years, if we all joined this foreign legion and went in as ninjas, practical, actual ninjas against Russia.
Oh man,
ninjas in Russia in modern day.
Dude, that's a song title. Oh man, ninjas in Russia.
No, how fucking cool would that be? We join the Foreign Legion and we go in and we're like, they're like, do you have any skills? And we're like, we're freaking ninjas. Step aside. And
they're like, here's your AK. And you're like, no, we don't need that. We've got swords. And they're like, swords?
I've trained with a sword. Yep.
Yeah.
Like an actual legit, like, cut your limb off sword.
Well, in Japan, that was a thing. People have fucking sliced machine guns in half with swords and stuff.
And I'll tell you what, like, just like you'll tell someone, even if they're like really experienced with a gun, when you hand them the gun, it's not loaded, but here, check. You know, like you like check each other's safety. It's the same way with a sword. You know, like we had an etiquette to it, and you know, like, because that shit will fuck you up.
Oh, good.
Doesn't have to be a bullet.
And how badass would it be to take out Russia with swords? Like, what if that was it? Like, they're like, well, we've got machine guns and fighter jets and stuff, but we'll go at you with swords. Because, you know, why not? I mean, oh man, this.
Because ninjutsu's more spiritual in the sense,
it's state of mind kind of thing.
Yeah, in the sense that you don't think of, like, you know, 4 cardinal points for fighting. You get into this like psychology realm too, where those are points to attack from. You know, it's not just spatial combat. It becomes, you know, more ethereal. And you know, resort to disguise, subterfuge, you know, like you attack on all metaphysical levels. That's being a ninja.
Well, and that is definitely an aspect of ninjutsu that's really important. Like, well, you know, my bumper sticker that says real ninjas use lasers. Well, there's a lot more going on there.
I mean, part of our tests at the black belt level, it's not belts in the traditional sense, but
well, that's good. Bruce Lee would be proud of that.
It's mainly cosmetic. yeah, like part of the test to ascend levels is uh, I'm probably butchering the pronunciation, but the Jodan test, where you kneel in the seiza position with your eyes closed, and sensei is behind you with a sword, and you have to duck the entirely silent attack that's coming randomly. Hey, talking about gambling.
Oh shit, yeah.
And you have to rely on other senses than hearing and sight. Like you become in tune with, I don't want to sound real hippie, but like the motions in
No,
the energy.
you're absolutely correct. That is a factor. And oh man,
We can probably sense any given force. I mean, we can, right? Like it's just a matter of tuning into it. You sense gravity in an elevator.
Oh well, and
you feel that in your stomach because it's like abnormal. You don't normally notice it.
But all you have to do is think back if you've ever sat in like a tram or a train car and you've sensed somebody looking at you. You can sense attention from another person. Like that is a thing.
Yeah.
So, oh man. Oh Jesus. Whoa, wow. This is
we went from gambling and investments to ninjas.
Ninjas in Russia. Oh man.
Our next album. Should just start naming the albums, and that should be one of them. Ninjas in Russia.
Ninjas. Oh man. Shit. Hell yeah. Oh God. I just hope this whole situation, I mean, because it is politicians. It's politicians politicizing and doing their political stuff, and people defer to them, not because there's really any reason, but because they're expected to. And well, that's how you get Nazis. Just saying. So, you know, but they don't have any power. That is the whole thing. Putin has no power. The Russian Federation has no power. But y'all tell you what does have power is Zelenskyy.
Yep.
Like standing there in a t-shirt in the middle of Kiev, being like, yeah, we're not leaving. That
I think power is your ability to command respect.
Yeah.
You know, like stuff like that is respectable. And respectable things tend to be things that you would have trouble doing yourself. You know, like the things that are real hard decisions somebody is able to make and you can rely upon them. You know, like we don't see that in America.
No, we don't. And I think that's why so many people in the US were so keen to join up with Ukraine.
Yeah. Like, we all crave that.
Oh,
we're just like light deprived, caged animals in this most amazing country.
Weekend is a pretty good place. Earth is a pretty nice place. The thing is, like, you know, if you want to be a leader, lead by example, not by fear. If you lead by fear, well, automatically, I'm going to assume you have tiny ass balls. So, yeah. And Russia, okay, no, this is the important distinction, and I think people really need to understand this, is the difference between the government and the people. The Russian people are awesome. The Russian government is fucking stupid. It's a clown show, just like the US. It's a bunch of clowns go like, you know, they got noses on, and you know, that's kind of what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
It's
No,
a
yeah,
clown show.
that's a good point. And like, there's already memes out there taking care of that. You know, like,
Mm-hmm.
hey, don't be an asshole to the like Eastern European deli guy because he's not the one invading Ukraine. And it's like, yeah,
Yeah.
it's a great point.
Well, and given that, like, there's
Sad you
so
have to say
many,
it, but you know,
there's so many Russians. The Russian people are protesting as much as they can. I mean, it's kind of difficult, pretty difficult in the US too now, but you know, I mean, dude, well, talking about risk and stuff, it's like, if you're going to protest in a place where the risk is very high, where the chance of retribution is very high, that's pretty ballsy.
yeah,
That's going to get a lot more respect than a place where it's like, well, you can protest whatever you want, whenever you want, and nobody's going to care. So, well, and it goes back to the Tiananmen Square thing. Dude in the suit, he had that, you know, attaché, and he like stood up against a tank, and like,
Twisted Sisters, we're not gonna take it, blares in the
yeah,
background somewhere.
exactly. Random guy in China is like, yeah, fuck these tanks. I'm gonna stand up here and do that. Like, man, what a baller. God, that is so cool. I wish I could do that. I wish I was half the man that person was. I don't even know who that was, but fuck yeah.
Did
You know,
I don't I'm sad to say I don't even know how that turned out. Did they run him over or not?
no, I think
Oh,
that
good.
kind of ended the whole thing.
Huh.
Yeah, so what a badass.
Yeah.
So,
I mean,
you
that's
know,
all it takes. Like, people think, oh, I'll never make a difference. But that guy was carrying a briefcase, walking home from work. He didn't set out to do that in his life. You know,
no,
like, that wasn't a goal. That was a
no.
split-second gamble he made.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and that's one of the things is like doing that inspires other people to follow suit. Like if nobody stands up, then you have the Nazis. If somebody stands up, just one person, all it takes is one person. And for God's sake, be that person. You know, stand up for what you believe in. Fight for what you believe in. You know, if you think something's wrong, call it out. Even if there's going to be some kind of retribution, and there might be, and that's okay, because, well, the whole world is watching.
I think that's
So,
why people appreciate our channel, is because we do say shit that could blow back on us. But we don't care. You know, like, we just say it.
mm-hmm.
And it's like, that's a huge gamble.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like, there's to be honest, if we did blow up overnight and become super mega popular, we would instantly be canceled for any one of a random selection of our episodes, somewhere wherein we said something that will piss somebody off.
Well, and okay, I would honestly like that.
Yeah.
Like, okay, well, that shows that we're not just saying what people want to hear, but we're speaking truth to power, basically, you know, like talking about things that matter. Because here's the thing, it's really easy to say all the stuff you're supposed to say, but it's kind of challenging to say things that challenge the status quo, make people feel uncomfortable, things like that. And that's what we need. now more than ever. Like, we should be feeling uncomfortable. We should be like, hey, what gives? I don't know.
You know, a thought occurs to me, like, there's an inspiration in this show. You see, I'm always trying to turn this show into a religion or a cult. I think this is how people feel in church. They hear the word of God and they feel inspired and they see so much meaning in that. But I feel like this show, our conversations, we dig into the like roots of everything to find meaning, and then get that sense of enlightenment and that sense of accomplishment from like doing the work to get there.
Well, and the difference is, like, from a religious standpoint, like, what have you actually done? Show me the money, Lebowski. Like, what have you accomplished?
Well, the crucifix on my wall really ties the room together.
Yeah. Like, and that's kind of the difference with what we do is, like, yeah, it's difficult. There's things that might potentially come back to haunt us in the past or in the future.
I've made good decisions in the past. I've made good decisions in the future.
What is it? Humans and fish can live together. Oh man.
Oh, Dan Quayle.
I miss that guy, man. So many memes. Like, oh, he's full of good stuff. Shit. Well, oh man. Damn.
Well, my back teeth are floating, so it might be a good time to wrap up.
Yeah, mine too. So yeah. Man, this is so good though.
Yeah. This might be like a returning theme, I think. And I bet you anything over the seasons we'll end up on either side of the fence arguing against each other for the points that like seasons ago we were arguing.
Probably so. Oh man. Oh. And that's all right. Like,
as long as people are thinking.
Yeah. Shit.
Think, people. Think.
Yeah. Have conversations. Like,
be quiet sometimes. Like, people will look at me and be like, are you okay? Or they're like, well, you're quiet. And it's like, I'm thinking. Don't people ever like get lost in thought, or I don't know, like converse with themselves about something, like throw different ideas at yourself?
I know I do.
Yeah.
Like, I talk to myself quite a lot. I
don't know, maybe we're weird. Maybe we're neurodivergent, as they say. Which to me actually sounds like a pretty kick-ass thing.
It actually does. Wait, maybe that should be like the next album title too. Neurodivergent. Fuck yeah. Oh man. Dude, we're gonna change the world.
I feel Eric Clapton coming on.
Like old school or new school?
I can change the world.
So it's kind of like in the
I guess it's kind of ancient now because we're getting old.
Yeah, it's like 90s.
Yeah.
I always thought the 90s was like so new.
Yep.
Holy shit. Man.
Information superhighway.
Kids are talking about this thing called internet. What is internet? Oh man. Well, shit.
Get your lightning fast 18K dial-up modem.
Oh man, sign up to Prodigy while you still can.
Only $6,500. And you and 3 other people in the world can be talking on the information superhighway.
Oh man. Oh shit.
And it turned into this.
It did. And what a beautiful thing.
Mm-hmm.
Well. Oh man.
Well, thanks for deep sink diving with us into gambling and how everything is a goddamn gamble.
Yeah, it really is.
Everything. War and clowns and ninjas in Russia. And
you've actually kind of convinced me on that. So, oh man,
ninjas could end that war.
Yeah, probably.
And there's enough of us around the world, I think, that we would make a pretty significant change in the tide.
Well, one ninja equals what, like 100 Russian soldiers? Guess it depends on who you talk to. So, okay.
Well, coming from a ninja, I concur.
Oh, man.
I may be biased. All right, well.
Do I have to bust out the AK? Bobby, you crazy!
Real ninjas use AK-47. Shikanara Mizuto. Just like me. I don't know why I'm taking down the note "Go live from a tank," like it's a shopping list.
Like it's a thing we could just do.
Go to war, hijack a tank, live stream from tank.